On today's program, Ross Perot, the 1992 third-party presidential candidate and founder of the Reform Party, spoke to DePauw University students and faculty Monday evening in Greencastle, Indiana.
Privileged to be with you here tonight as we talk about the problems that our country must face and solve. I hope that none of you will forget for one moment that you and I are the luckiest people in the world. We live in the nation that everybody else in the world would give anything to come to. Why weren't we born on the streets of India? Why aren't we off Vietnam in a boat trying desperately to get somewhere? You and I were lucky enough to be born here, but our ancestors weren't, and don't forget that. If you want to understand what made this country so great, look at them. Most of them, believe it or not, filled out their papers, waited in line. You mean they didn't storm the border? No. Waited in line and finally came through Ellis Island. Not all did, but most did. They came off Ellis Island not even able to speak English. Now, in today's world, you would say, well, certainly there's some government program that's going to take care of these poor, desperate people. No, they went out and scrambled and got a job. And then they would start to head west. Well, surely there was a federal program to provide covered wagons and mules and oxen, right? No, they saved their money. Couldn't they buy it on a credit card? There weren't any, thank God. You saved your money, looked forward to things, and then bought them. And then as they headed west, you say, well, surely the government had a network of motels where these people could stay at night and, you know, early versions of McDonald's where they could drive through for a burger. Absolutely not. There weren't even roads. The Pioneer's Creed says it all. The cowards never started, the weak died on the way, and only the strong survived. But one of the reasons the strong survived is at the end of the day, when they stopped the wagons and they formed a circle to camp for the night, there was no food until someone went out and hunted for food. Some would find food and others would not find food. But the great part in the magic of America is that those who found food shared it with those who did not, and they all moved forward the next day. I want you to understand, because you're in college, you're going to be out of college, I want you to know where the #1 growth industry of the United States is. There it is right there. I realize that's going to be hard to see, but that one is going up like a rocket. America's #1 growth industry is the U.S. government. Right down here is computers. This is automobiles. This is farming. And health care looks pretty good, but guess what? That's because of Medicare and Medicaid, right? But there it is. Now this is exciting. You say, hey, that's where I'm going. I've got to get ready. What kind of products do they sell? They don't sell a product. Well then, how do they make all the money? They tax. Oh, you mean all of this money came from taxes? Yes. Who paid those taxes? Farmers, policemen, plumbers, electricians, people working third shift, men, mothers and fathers both working one job or two jobs. That's where those taxes come from, off the sweat of the brow of millions of working Americans. I'm sure if we were going to try to start this great college today, the general mood would be, gee, we better get a government subsidy, right? This college was created by a minister and a church. You say, well, this must really be unique. No, Yale was created the same way, and we can march across the nation and see one great institution after another where a few people came together and did it. That's what America is all about. Now, somebody out there might say, okay, Ross, we're spending too much money, it's a mess, but let's give big government a chance, right? We did. When John Kennedy was running for office, we were spending $100 billion a year to operate our country. That won't pay the interest on the debt today. That's all it took. Today we're spending $1.5 trillion and we're $5 trillion in debt. We should all have a mansion on the hill and a yacht in Palm Beach, and our only problem should be to pay the debt. Surely we created utopia for the American people after spending all that money. Here are the facts. The people did not benefit. The federal debt has increased 320% for each U.S. worker, and the standard of living is down for 4 out of 5 U.S. workers. Over the last 35 years, we tried big government. It didn't work. Now, here is our fundamental problem as the owners of the country. We're people, we're human beings, and in a world that changes rapidly, there are some things that never change. Human nature never changes. And one of the most fundamental traits of human nature is to maintain the status quo and keep things just the way they are until after a crisis develops. Just think, normally, the fellow that's drinking too much, he waits till his liver's gone. He knew it was going, he just didn't know when, right? The fellow that's smoking too much waits till the lungs are gone, then he takes dramatic action. If we wait until a crisis occurs here, literally millions of people will suffer for decades, and those people will be the people we love the most, our children and grandchildren, and we will not let that happen. We've got a narrow window of opportunity to solve these problems. If this happened in our great country, the entire world would be a much less stable place because of our major role as a force for stability and good in the whole world.